In October 1972, the world was about to witness one of the most harrowing tales of survival ever chronicled. Within the icy grasp of the Andes, a tale of hope, despair, and the struggle for life would unfold, a story both tragic and inspiring. It all began on the 12th of October, 1972. A team of rugged young men, the Old Christians Club rugby team, set out on what was to be a thrilling journey to Chile for a match. But what began as an adventure would quickly transform into a nightmare. More than just friends, these athletes had formed a brotherhood bound by common dreams and shared passions. On board were 45 souls, friends, families, and teammates. They took off from Montevideo into the sprawling canvas of the South American sky. But high above the mountains, fate had other plans. A storm brewed in the horizon, leading their aircraft deep into the unforgiving Andes, where first silence, then chaos erupted. As the storm raged, the pilots fought with every ounce of their skill, battling turbulence that rattled both aircraft and passengers. And then, in the blink of an eye, disaster struck. The aircraft tore through the clouds, colliding violently with the jagged peaks of the Andes. Amidst the rubble and twisted metal, silence fell over what was once a vibrant spirit, now replaced by a haunting stillness. Of the 45 passengers, only 16 emerged from the cold wreckage into a world dominated by snow, isolation, and despair. Cut off from civilization, they stood bewildered, grappling with the horror they had just endured. In that unforgiving vastness, enveloped by an impenetrable white, the survivors had only each other to rely on, and the primal instinct for survival began to ignite. But as hope waned, despair began to fester in the frigid air. With no rescue in sight, the team faced a devastating reality, a bitter truth that would loosen the very bonds of camaraderie and humanity. Days turned into weeks, and the bitter cold gnawed at their hopes. As they awaited rescue, they were forced to make choices that would haunt them forever. Hunger became their fiercest enemy. With food supplies dwindling, some were faced with a choice that would challenge their very existence. Through the fog of grief and the chill of survival instinct, they made a harrowing decision. To sustain their lives, they would have to rely on the flesh of the deceased. In those moments, the survivors not only grappled with extreme physical and emotional distress but also with the morality of their choices. The question they faced was heavy: what is the value of life when life is a struggle for survival? What would you do in the face of desperation? In those icy caverns of despair, bonds were tested and the shadows of sanity lingered. Desperate cries for help were muffled by the blinding snow, and despair within grew like an unyielding frost. Even as hope melted between their frozen fingertips, a few among them refused to relent. They crafted signals, beacon fires of hope amid the darkness. But with each passing day, reality grew more suffocating. Eventually, solitude became their only companion. Yet, amidst the pervasive gloom, moments of camaraderie surfaced. They sang songs, shared memories, and weaved together stories, a desperate attempt to keep their humanity intact. They clung to each other, desperate not just to survive, but to remain human. Time stretched anomalously. As the mountains smiled cruelly, nature would tell them they were not forgotten. After an agonizing 72 days shattered by uncertainty, hunger, and heartaches, 2 of the survivors embarked on a perilous journey to seek help. Fernando Paradu and Roberto Canessa braved the icy grip of the Andes, driven by the flickering flame of hope. Their arduous journey would mean leaving their comrades behind, but surrendering was no longer an option. Every step taken was a testament to the human spirit, fragile yet fierce. Hours turned into days, and the stark environment stripped them not only of warmth but of certainty. And after relentless trials, through sheer determination, they crossed paths with a shepherd. With the help of the shepherd, help was dispatched. Rescue teams engulfed the mountains, races against time. One by one, those who had clung desperately to life would finally feel the warmth of hope again. On December 23, 1972, a story that began with tragedy morphed into a miracle. They had braved the elements, stared death in the face, and emerged, lives intertwined in an unbreakable bond forged in the fires of survival. The tale of Uruguayan Air Force Flight 571 is far more than a story of survival. It is a reflection on the boundaries of human spirit, the resilience embedded deep within us all. And while some lives were lost along the way, the legacy of the survivors emerges as an indomitable testament to hope and the power of unity. We may ask ourselves, how would we respond in the face of such despair? The answers are as diverse and profound as the human experience itself, inspired by an ordeal that will echo through time, reminding us all that even in darkness, light can be found.